Hi team, welcome to the Kindness, Curiosity and Comfortable Shoes podcast. My name is James McFetrich and this is an ongoing toolkit for all healthcare staff. Whether you are a porter or a paediatrician, a domestic or a driver, clinical or non-clinical, just starting or just finishing your work in healthcare, this podcast aims to give you some useful thoughts about working for this amazing business to get you through your day. Today I'm talking about curiosity, and well, the first thing I find curious is every time I try and write it, when I type it, I try and put a U in there. There's no U in curiosity. How is that the case? What's that all about? But that, I guess, is what curiosity is about, having just an interest in the world around you, asking those questions, exploring why things are a certain way. It's almost like going back to being a 4 or 5-year-old and asking that incessant why? When our children were smaller, that sort of age, we always challenged ourselves as parents never to finish one of those chains of incessant whys with a just because. We always had to find an answer for the why. How often in healthcare, or possibly any big business, do we feel that we undertake certain work just because that's the way we always do it, just because that's the way the boss likes it? I don't think that makes for a very fulfilling work environment, and I think it's quite healthy to challenge anything that happens like that. Often, if you are at the coalface consistently doing things, you're the person who can explore how things can be done in a different way, but that starts with asking why. Having any inquiring mind just shows interest in our surroundings and an engagement with what is going on, and I certainly feel that can only enhance our day. I came across this a couple of weeks back when I was watching the BBC's SAS Rogue Heroes series, and there's a great character, well, but not character as such, he's based on a real person called Paddy Mayne. And he gives this opening speech to some new recruits. I won't recreate his accent, but he says, and I'm going to paraphrase this for obvious reasons for those of you who know it. Lesson number 1, on morning number 1, you must ask why. Because if you know why you are carrying out your mission, when things screw up, as they inevitably will, you will know how to achieve what you set out to achieve in a different way, in your own way. That sort of underlies some of how the ways that the SAS work. And it's maybe not quite the same in healthcare, but I do think it's a really good challenge to be asking why, so you understand the process, why you're undertaking certain tasks. It's certainly a good challenge and a good way to learn. If you're with someone and someone can't explain why you or they are doing something, it's possibly an inefficient way of working, and that's how we can improve our working lot. Certainly from a safety perspective, it's one of the first things we suggest when you need to speak up. If you see something that's not quite right, that you have concerns, one of the first steps that you may take is to probe as to why something is happening. It's just gentle questioning. It's very sensible to get into that mindset. And if you are patient-facing in healthcare, if you have frequent conversations with patients, especially if you're part of the diagnostic team, clearly having curiosity in patients helps us understand where they're coming from, helps us understand how their illness is affecting them, and definitely can help us diagnose them better. Just asking that question, why? Why do you feel that it's this particular disease that you're concerned about? Why are there issues with taking this medication? We also know that if you show an interest in patient, funnily enough, that lessens complaints. And if you're fairly new to healthcare, you may think, well, that's a bit strange. Of course I'm interested in patients. Well, we all are, but sometimes with stress and pressures of work, sometimes if you are in a very routine part of healthcare, I think that genuine interest that we have deep down inside us can sometimes get a bit lost. So reminding ourselves why we're with patients and being curious about what's going on with them definitely helps that patient interaction. And as I say, there's really good evidence that it reduces complaints and incidents purely by showing a bit more interest. One of my colleagues called Bob, he's an ultrasound enthusiast, and I have tried over the years to try and emulate him and try and increase my interest and understanding of ultrasound in emergency medicine. And the thing that I see really pushes him forward is that he's curious. He's always wanting to know why, finding out a bit more about what he can with patients by the use of ultrasound. His ongoing engagement and interest and understanding of ultrasound is by having a patient in front of him that perhaps doesn't necessarily need that, but he will spend a couple of minutes with a quick ultrasound of their heart or lungs or stomach to find out a bit more about them. And, oh, that's interesting. How does that square up with my understanding of the patient with other tests that are available? And for me, that all stems from the why. Being curious about what is going on with those patients is increasing his understanding in that very specific field. Sometimes, however, it's easy to think, well, I'm trying to be curious, but I don't know how to phrase the questions. I don't know how to explore things more. So I'm going to leave you with something that is really from the coaching field. Well, actually, originally it's from police interrogation field, but a good few steps, a few key phrases, I guess, that you can have in your toolkit to think about how to frame questions to ask patients or ask anyone who you're working with to explain a bit more about what's going on. And these are called TEDS questions, TEDS. So the T is for tell me more, E is explain to me, D, describe to me, and S, show me. So if you're having a conversation with someone and you're just not sure the right way to phrase things, you want to encourage them to talk a bit more, you can use any one of those 4 starting phrases. Tell me more about that pain. Explain to me exactly why we are undertaking this audit. Describe to me how you manage at home. Show me on yourself whereabouts you get the pain and what the problems are. Really nice, easy technique just to get people to be talking a bit more and can satisfy your curiosity as well as deepening the relationship with whoever you are talking to. I hope that's useful and it's something that you can take into your everyday practice. Remember to be curious. It will only deepen your relationship. And if you are stuck, use those TEDS questions. Thank you for listening today. Let me know what you thought about this episode. I am on @JMacEducation on all the socials. And there are links in the show notes for anything that we've talked about today that may be of interest or further reading for you. I'd be really grateful if you could rate, review and subscribe. And most importantly, if you found this helpful, please tell your colleagues about this podcast. So please take care of yourselves out there. You are doing a great job. And remember, be kind, be curious, and don't forget your comfortable shoes. Thank you to Shakina Studio for the music downloaded through Audio Jungle. Thank you to Beth for the artwork and the photo produced through Canva. And thank you to Buzzsprout for hosting the podcast. The Kindness, Curiosity and Comfortable Shoes podcast is a JMac Education production.